Welcome to Edmonds District Stadium, the Sound Live Sports Network, broadcasting live tonight. And it is Jam the Stands, Stadium Jam, Meadowdale. Coming in to face the home team, Edmonds-Woodway Warriors in Wesco 3A action. Thanks for being with us. I'm Keith Neely, along with the Hawkeye crew and Angelo Camo. Got a real fun ball game ahead of us tonight. One of my absolute favorites on the year, bar none. And the stands, as you can hear, are absolutely, completely packed. First time for Wesco 3A South action in league play for Edmonds-Woodway. Meadowdale has already played one league game so far. That's against the Mount Lake Terrace Hawks last week, where they fell 30-14. Edmonds-Woodway in the green jerseys will be kicking off from left to right in front of us. Meadowdale with the white and navy have elected to receive the football, and it is away and dragged in at the 5-yard line. And here we go. Let's get some football played. First breaking one tackle, and then the another one is Jesse Navlet. Navlet, 6 foot, 160 pounds, plays both wide receiver and defensive back, and does a heck of a job returning there. A almost 20-yard return. Make that a 21-yard return. And that'll set up a first down and 10 to go. We'll try to get all the starting lineups all straightened out for you, but Drew Tingstad is the man you need to know behind the center in the shotgun formation right now. Back to pass. He swings out and hits one man, and it's a flea flicker down deep and wide open. Caught. It's Nate Navlet, and he will go all the way on the first play from scrimmage on a flea flicker for the touchdown. Meadowdale takes the early lead, seeks 6-0 in a flash of lightning. One play, 61 yards, and the TD. That's the way to get something started in a rivalry matchup, throwing punches right out of the gate. Carson with the hold, Tyree Carson. And attempting the extra point, Julio Abad. 5'9", 165-pound senior. There are seniors on this Meadowdale Mavericks squad, but they're not as laden with seniors as they were last year, having graduated over 20 in last year's class. The kick is up, and it is through, and we are 7-0 right out of the gates here at Edmonds District Stadium. We've got a barn burner, and we've barely played 30 seconds of football. We'll stay right here as Edmonds-Woodway now has their chance. A bit of a head scratcher on defense on the first play of the football game. You get all that excitement built up. You want to go out and hit somebody, and you get wide-eyed when you get a little swing out pass like that, and everybody's hauling in on the first ball that is caught. And somebody missed an assignment down deep, and that may hurt this Edmonds-Woodway team. We'll see how they respond. Of course, Edmonds-Woodway having fallen a week ago, just as did Meadowdale, 42-22. So they want to get back on the saddle again and try to eke out a win here, especially in front of their home crowd. But probably what stings a little more than that is the fact that they lost to this very same Mavericks team a year ago when both teams were very strong and lost in double overtime. And got as far in the Kansas tiebreaker all the way down to, I think, the 3-yard line before they had a couple penalties and drug them back. And this will be gathered in at the 20-yard line and tackled right there. 2-yard return. So Meadowdale started on their own 37. Edmonds-Woodway will start on their own 23. And see what Isaac Jackson, the Edmonds-Woodway quarterback, can do with a fairly young line. We've got an official's timeout on the field. The referee for tonight's game. Is Dave Johnson, umpire Eric Weisberg. And now they'll dial him back in again here. Jackson under center, first the handoff, immediately met at the line of scrimmage is Tyler Reinford, the running back. And one play down. A little more traditional first play start out of the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors as opposed to Meadowdale on that flea flicker for the score. And now equaling the number of plays called for the game, Edmonds-Woodway will come to the line with a second down. Actually, they're going to replay the down. Must have been a penalty. Did not see that. So 2 flags on the play. And Edmonds-Woodway will bury themselves back into a hole here. An illegal participation. I was trying to figure out what the call on the field was. It looked like almost the illegal man downfield. Illegal motion sign, but illegal participation. So maybe that we had a little bit too many green jerseys on the field for the first play of the game. So now 1st and 15 after we scratch a play due to the penalty. This will be the first official play from scrimmage. And on the bootleg rollout, here's Jackson, has a man open deep, almost picked off, and then in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Jalen Nash was the intended receiver, but very well guarded in the defensive backfield. Meadowdale right now employing a 4-3 defense with the traditional 2 cornerbacks and 2 safeties. And now after a minute, only a minute has gone by, Edmonds-Woodway finds themselves in a 2nd and long situation with the ball on the 18-yard line. 2 in the backfield. There's the play action fake once again. Here comes Jackson, has to get by one would-be tackler, still on his feet, managed to juke another one, and finally gets up to the 26-yard line before he's felled. Levi Elkins in on the tackle, a 6'2", 230-pound linebacker, only a junior. And now got about half that distance back. 3rd and 7. Edmonds-Woodway not nearly losing as many seniors as Meadowdale, although they've got a lot of new faces in key positions, especially those quarterback and running back spot. Here's the play action fake once again. Jackson will hit an open receiver. Here's Reed Whitson. Whitson gets the first down, and the drive is continued. Whitson is one of those squirrely kind of guys, but he runs true routes, from what I've been told. And that was a pretty true route right down the middle, right down Broadway, just getting right behind that defensive back, or excuse me, the linebackers and in front of the defensive backs. And I'm able to get that very important yards after catch to get the first down. So 1st down and 10 on the 39. Jackson goes into the shotgun formation. There's the handoff. Around left end it goes. And Anthony Lindemood, 6'2", 160 pounds junior, with the carry. And I may have that wrong. I don't have an 18 on my roster, so I'll have to pick that up here in a second. Anyway, Jackson back to pass, has a man open on the outside, gets past that important first down marker. David Woodard knowing exactly where the sticks lie on the far sideline in front of the Meadowdale bench. And they say just not quite there. Stepped out of bounds just shy of the first down. It'll bring up third and about 6 inches. So Edmonds-Woodway having to work at it. 5th play of the drive after a penalty started things off. And here's Jackson under center, play action 1, then straight forward. And Reinford is stuffed at the line of scrimmage, 4th down, actually loses a yard. Great job up front by the Meadowdale 4. Fourth down, no sign of anything but going for it here out of John Gradwall's play call. Head coach for Edmonds-Woodway. Jackson held out the screen. Here's the handoff. It's Reinford. Busts through one tackle. Still on his feet. Leans, gets the first down and another 5 yards. And into Meadowdale territory, Reinford. Big, tall back. Not one of those hulking backs, but he runs tall and pops a wallop. And the first down, Edmonds-Woodway. Split wideouts, 2 in the backfield. Jackson will usher the call, and there's the play action. He'll roll out now. Here's the throw, long downfield. Has a man almost open. Very good call coverage in my opinion, but the penalties fly. Got him, nipped him at the heels enough to make him fall down, and I think had he not tripped, it would have been good coverage, but Woodard takes a beating at the very last second and gets unearthed. And a penalty, and a mighty big penalty on the Meadowdale Mavericks, will give Edmonds-Woodway another first down. That's one of those plays where, unfortunately, as a defensive back, you do everything right. You've got good separation when you need it. You close space really well when you need it, and you just get tangled up at the very end. And down you go. And you just got to tip your hat and go back at him. Ball on the 29-yard line. There's the handoff straight ahead. Reinford gets ahead of steam. Almost gets past the secondary of Meadowdale. It was Jesse Navlett, the last guy in defense, that was able to get a shoestring tackle and keep it 7-0 Meadowdale early. Thanks for being with us on the Sound Live Sports Network. The early game of 2. Glacier Peak Linwood to follow in the Edmonds District Stadium doubleheader at 8 o'clock tonight. Edmonds-Woodway and Meadowdale, one of those rare jam the stands affairs that isn't in the late game. And there's the handoff once again. He's spinning out of trouble and still on his feet. It took 2 to drop him down. And Reinford continues to grind out yards. Isaiah Richards, the inside linebacker, makes the stop. And now second down. 6:38 to go, first quarter here at Edmonds District Stadium. Edmonds-Woodway watched the first play go over their heads of Meadowdale for a touchdown. And now we're trying to even the score. There's the counter play, stumbling just a bit as Reinford, and that'll cost him a little bulldog tackle on the far sideline. Big 99, Marcus Ward, the defensive end, only a junior, able to scramble down there and realize that Reinford was in trouble. Instead of 2nd down and 2, you've got a 3rd down and 4. So loss of 2 with the ball on the 9. Still have a chance to get inside for another first down, and now we've got a timeout on the field. We'll take a brief timeout ourselves. Meadowdale 7, Edmonds-Woodway 0. Jam the stands. We'll continue on right after this on the Sound Live Sports Network. Clog drain? Call Action Jackson for 24-hour service. Lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $90 plus tax. 258-75601 or visit actionjackson.com. Third down and 4 after the Edmonds-Woodway timeout. High formation behind quarterback Jackson, and now we've got the white hat talking to the center of Edmonds-Woodway, Reed Friday. A little bit of a conversation. Now Jackson under center with the eye. Here's a turn and a handoff. It goes to Reinford, gets close to the first down, and then some into the end zone. Touchdown, E-Dub. Reinford dragging white jerseys from his left to his right. And by the time he crossed the plane, I think he had 4 Mavericks on his coattails. A 9-yard TD play. A penalty. A penalty will negate the touchdown. Let's drag it back. Assistance is what they are ruling. The play was that the ball carrier was carried into the end zone. So they will negate the penalty. No real question from the crowd here, and no real cheer from the Meadowdale fans. And Jackson in the shotgun. There's the handoff around the end and near the first down. And you can bet you're in 2-down territory. If you're an Edmonds-Woodway fan, you've grown very used to going for 4th down inside the 20. And especially after their kicker of last year, Ibrahim Afadi, decided not to play this year for the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors. He had one heck of a leg. And now without him playing, you draw on what you know. 5:12 to go, 4th down and 2 with the ball on the 7-yard line. Jackson, one man to his right, and now a drawn offsides, and that will get this Edmonds-Woodway crowd juiced. And that is a huge, huge penalty. Encroachment on the Meadowdale Mavericks will give Edmonds-Woodway 4 pops at the end zone. So the ball will be spotted on the 4. And now Edmonds-Woodway will go back to that familiar I formation, twins to the left on the far side of the field. Jackson goes under center with just under 5 minutes to play first quarter. Bouncing outside is Reinford, gets 1 yard, maybe 2. And a cloud of dust, if you will, on this brand new turf field. Marshall with the tackle for the Meadowdale Mavericks. And now we've got another official's timeout. I'll see if I can't dial in there and look. Looks like we've got an equipment issue going on as Jackson is on the turf tying his cleats. The 5 o'clock game, we are not the only one going right now. A rare 4 p.m. start. Marysville Getchell is playing at Lakeside tonight, the only other Wesco game going on right at this moment. Everybody else is 7 o'clock and later. And there's the handoff. Reinford twirls toward another yard, maybe 2, and now you're right back where you were. Reinford able to get through twice on pretty long runs. One of those called back, and that was the touchdown run, long being 9 yards. And now everybody feels the vibe going through the stadium with a 3rd down and 1. 3rd and goal on the 1. Here's the handoff. Guess who? Tyler Reinford with the touchdown. E-dub. Notches 6 points on the board here to answer. And Reinford looks to be the workhorse so far today for Edmonds-Woodway. And we've got a injured player down on the field. It looks to be Tyler Ruby, the middle linebacker, a senior, captain of this squad for the Mavericks. And now coming in to replace him, Quentin Bourget, 5'9" linebacker. And that's one of those things that, boy, you hope early in the season, when conditioning is an issue, fatigue plays a part, that we're looking at a cramp. But with the way they're looking at the player down there, it looks like it's not like we're stretching out a cramp or anything. Got a couple of trainers out. And we hope that that young man will be okay. Ruby already has a couple of tackles in the game tonight. At 7 o'clock, the other games going around the league here. Jackson will be playing at Cascade at Everett Memorial. Mariner will be playing at Kamiak up at Goddard. So a home game, they say, for Kamiak, even though it'll be at Mariner Stadium because of the Jackson Cascade game at Everett Memorial. So it gets a little interesting. Monroe is playing at Snohomish right now. It's a simulcast game on KXA 1320 and STSPN. Todd Elvig and company. Mount Vernon at Lake Stevens. KRKO. Arlington Eastside Catholic on TCSN. O'Day playing Marysville Pilchuck tonight at Quilceda Casino on 1380. Stanwood at Blanchette being played on TCSN. Mount Lake Terrace is Shorewood. Shorecrest at Sammamish. And then the 8 o'clock game, of course, we mentioned earlier, Glacier Peak will be coming off the plateau to face Linwood in the 8 o'clock game. And now we've got a timeout on the field. Like one more game left to mention. That's a rare Saturday, 1 p.m. start. Bainbridge comes over off the island to play Everett at Everett Memorial Stadium, a 1 p.m. start there. And that rounds out Wesco. And, of course, as soon as we get any scores, most of them will probably not start until after this one is in the books. But nonetheless, if we hear from anybody, we'll be sure to get you a score. And until they sort the injury out on the field, we're going to take another break here on the Sound Live Sports Network. After scoring a 1-yard dive, Tyler Reinford will give 6 points to Edmonds-Woodway, down by 1 to Meadowdale Mavericks. We'll be back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Welcome back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Tyler Ruby, the senior middle linebacker for the Mavericks, still down on the mat. Co-captain Bailey Walsh for a while there was over with him, giving him a hand, and there's Bailey now, walking off now, talking to the coaches. And that's tough to see one of your comrades falling like that. And especially one of those games that they may not know it now, but they will be talking about this game for a long, long time. I know rivalry games are pretty meaningful. Just you can tell that by the amount of people in the stands tonight. Those crosstown rivals. It's kind of the place to be seen. But these kids, boy, they remember exactly the plays, the personnel, where they were, who they were dating, what car they were driving at that very moment in time. And they'll know that for a long, long time. I know I've got student athletes that have played in this game before, and they will tell you right down to the time on the clock every single play if you ask them and have enough time to listen. So it's definitely one of those that you want just for bragging rights and in your crosstown rivalry, but you want to have a meaningful game too, and it's tough when you succumb to an injury and maybe not knowing what the situation down there is for Mr. Ruby. It's one of those things where it could get a little interesting if it's his senior year and this is where it all ends. That you hate to talk that way, of course, but it's the business of the sport. Edmonds-Woodway started their season back on Friday, September 4th, and beat the Jackson Timberwolves at Everett Memorial Stadium 21-13. A very sloppy game as far as penalties. And I think Edmonds-Woodway was glad to get out of that one with the W. And then a game that a lot of people said could have been won, but again, plagued by turnovers, penalties, some inconsistencies on defense, and Edmonds-Woodway falls to the Kamiak Knights 42-22 in the game right here last week. And that's one of those games that, as painful it is to lose, and no high school team ever wants to lose, it's one you can afford to lose as a non-league opponent. You're going to go into the heart of the season having probably learned some things and maybe learn some humility on how to lose and how to get back into training. And, of course, it all comes when both of these two teams lock horns tonight in the Jam the Stands Stadium Jam game. Of course, that's a rivalry in itself right there. The two teams, you ask what the game's called, and one school will tell you it's Jam the Stands. I believe that's the Meadowdale group. And then Stadium Jam is what all the Edmonds-Woodway people call. So it gets a little interesting on you'll hear them yelling across the aisle at each other, and as soon as the press box announcer will say one or the other. And now we've got instruction going on both sides, and this is one of those things that neither team wishes for the other. You grew up with these kids. They've been your teammates on countless teams, even though they're suiting up across the aisle from you. And the last thing you want is one of those kids that you've grown up with and loved to be still planted on the artificial turf here at Edmonds District Stadium. So a tough time for Tyler Ruby, of course, his family and the Meadowdale family. And hopefully this is just nothing more than precautionary at this point in time, and we'll pop him up and get on with the game. Mount Lake Terrace plays Linwood, or excuse me, not Mount Lake Terrace, but Linwood plays Glacier Peak in the later game tonight, the 8 o'clock contest here at Edmonds District Stadium. Terrace rolling Meadowdale 30-14 in last week's contest, and now we're, breaking up the huddle on the Edmonds-Woodway side of things, but still no indication of the action on the field or lack thereof. Meadowdale will go out next Friday night and be right here at Edmonds District Stadium to face the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. And a year ago, that was the one to watch. That was the game for the ages. You can look at that double overtime Edmonds-Woodway game that happened right before that, thinking that was probably the game that was going to be instrumental in seeding and districts and all that good stuff. But it really ended up being the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, Meadowdale Mavericks that mattered. That was the game that really came down to who's who in the Wesco 3A. And that was a 30-19 win by Meadowdale a year ago. Meadowdale having just an outstanding season. Ended up playing Auburn. And then Eastside Catholic beat Auburn 30-7 in the qualifying, postseason qualifier for the state tournament. And then Eastside Catholic, it's one of those tough schools, boy, that you just happen to get that one on the wrong side of the draw, and you're in kind of shrug your shoulders and say, boy, it's going to be tough, but we're going to go see what we can do. And unfortunately for the Mavericks, that was a defeat 42-14, but overall a wonderful, wonderful season for these Mavericks. And now the aid unit has come out on the field, and they are going to collar and isolate Tyler. Darn. We're with you, buddy. That's a tough one. Ruby away from the play at the time. Reinford going to the right in for the score, and Ruby is on that middle to left, or excuse me, right side of the line, so he'll be on the across the line on the left, away from Tyler Reinford. So not directly connected with the play, but obviously caught a block or a helmet. Three minutes and 40 seconds showing on the clock. It is 7-6. Meadowdale over Edmonds-Woodway at the moment, awaiting the PAT. We're going to take a quick break on the Sound Live Sports Network. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Shoreline College and Puget Sound Auto Dealers Association have been recognized internationally for its pioneering in finding a new way to deliver technical training for automotive repair.
Sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast are playing? What the game last night? Current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the standing that follows for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the Westco Conference.
Welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. Kind of a cautious hush about the stands right now as the injured player Tyler Ruby is being placed on a backboard. And our thoughts definitely with that young man. That is going to overshadow this contest for sure. Win or lose. Both teams now getting a little bit of a warm-up around their side of the field, trying to keep loose. The last thing you need is to have another one of your brethren go down because they haven't stretched back out again and cool off those muscles. So trainers very wisely getting their athletes back in action a little bit here to try to keep things loose. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Shoreline Community College, their support, Adrenaline Sports Fundraising, of course, Action Jackson Plumbing, Edmonds Community College, WestcoAthletics.com. Of course, you can go and get all your information there. And cheers and applause as Ruby elevates his hands in a triumphant V as he's wheeled into the aid unit, still showing he is thankful for the support here in the stands. And that's encouraging. That's some heart there. Mr. Tyler Ruby, we're with you. So we'll run down the varsity football schedule for Meadowdale. Of course, we've got some time to kill while both teams are warming up here. We may get you some scores from other games before too long after the break. Those 7 o'clock games are going to start here not too long, about an hour from now. After Edmonds-Woodway, we mentioned the Glacier Peak Grizzlies come into Edmonds District Stadium. That, again, another 5 p.m. So the early start for Meadowdale a week from tonight. And then go on the road to play at Shoreline Stadium and face the Shoreward T-Birds. That game, a 7 o'clock start. And then back here to face Linwood Royals, the inter-district rival, at 8 p.m. The late game at Edmonds District Stadium on the October 9th game. And then a bit of a haul down to Renton. And Renton Memorial Stadium, a long away game and a 7 p.m. start on the 15th in a non-league contest. And then Shorecrest will finish off the Meadowdale Mavericks season on October 23, 8 p.m. That almost seems like when you're getting into football, even though we're only 3 games in, it is so bang, 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 bang. You just can't not turn around and take more than 1 or 2 losses in the heart of the season and come out unscathed. Because there's teams that are going to go through and eke out wins and be right ahead of you. So it's a short, very meaningful season if you're a football athlete, for sure, for certain. Edmonds-Woodway, you round out them. Of course, we talked about the Edmonds-Woodway Jackson game in the season opener, 21-13, the final there at Everett Memorial Stadium. And then the Kamiak Edmonds-Woodway game a week ago in the home opener. Edmonds-Woodway dropping that one 42-22. So they're 1-1 on the season in non-league play. Of course, dropping down from 4A to 3A 2 years ago. You face some of those teams that were in your district, and they don't necessarily mean as much. You throw them at the front of the schedule and see what you can do. And then after tonight, Mount Lake Terrace, a very tough, big Mount Lake Terrace team, will be the home team at Edmonds District Stadium. Steve Willits and I will have the call on the 8 p.m. game. And now the kicker, Jake Stevenson. A defender on the boys soccer team, making his way into pads here for Edmonds-Woodway. And a chance to even the score. There's the snap, the hold, and the kick. It is up, through, and good. We are tied at 7 apiece after a long break, and we'll stay right here on the Sound Live Sports Network. So Edmonds-Woodway had to suck up a couple of penalties, but ended up going 9 plays and 77 yards for the score. It was Tyler Reinford with the 1-yard TD scamper off the right side. And now we're knotted up. So already 2 drives. Meadowdale 61 yards on their first drive. A little deceptive because it only happened under the 1 play. And Edmonds-Woodway kind of ground theirs out, largely grinding it on the legs of Tyler Reinford, although a couple very nice passes on that drive from Isaac Jackson. David Woodard, the recipient of a pass interference call, and that also helped the Edmonds-Woodway cause. And here we are ready to kick things off as Stevenson now will place the ball at the 40 and kick it off to Meadowdale. 7-7. Into the end zone. And that will be a touchback. Navlet could not hang on to it, tried to gather it in about the 2-yard line, but Meadowdale will take over at the 20-yard line, their own 20. And now we'll see what Drew Tingstad, only a junior, 6'2", 205, great athleticism. Has been in this role, played some quarterback in a starting role last year for a time. And now, of course, right at the helm, he'll put a man in motion. That's Roberts. And now a penalty flags on both sides of the field. And we've got a delay of game call. Nope, dead ball is a false start on the offense. I got 2 signals. The line judge, I was wondering why he was signaling a call. Usually that's the White Hat's job. And that'll be a first down and 15 yards to go. Harrison White on the near side. Once again, they put Roberts in motion. One in the backfield. It gets over Tingstad's head, and it'll be wisely just fallen on. And guess who? Tyler Reinford comes off that end and is credited for the sack. So Reinford has all sorts of fire under that helmet. Edmonds-Woodway going into a 4-3 defense. Actually more of a 3-3 now. They'll bring a man back. Here's a throw on the inside bubble screen. And they pick up some yards finally down there. And it's Reinford that makes the tackle after a nice catch by Nate Navlet, who got the TD throw earlier in the ball game. And now drawn off sides. And you got 2 Edmonds-Woodway players with encroachment. Tyler Reinford, one of them. Boy, can't get away from calling that kid's name. And Ollie Gay, the defensive end, also misstep. 2:38 to go first quarter. Tied at 7 apiece here at Edmonds District Stadium. Tingstad back to pass, has a man open over the middle, bumped. And there's the flag. One of those that's shoulder to shoulder. And Harrison White right at the place where the ball was going to be caught. You could tell he changed his direction right at the at the point where the ball was coming in, and that's pretty easy call to make. Although good coverage, once again, I said before, those defensive backs, you do everything right up until the very last moment. It can be a half a second, a difference between an outstanding play and one that costs your team a first down. So far on this drive, we've had one play from scrimmage and 3 penalties. Not the prettiest football early. Tingstad will load everybody in the box. Now here's the student body out to the left. And a great job in pursuit by Edmonds-Woodway. Max Gradwall in on the tackle. Anthony Lindemod also there. Second down and 15 off the loss. Kayla Marshall, a 5'9", 185-pound running back, got a good head of steam. And then just ran out of running room. Speedster, but didn't have enough time to turn the corner. Now they'll try the bubble screen once again, and all sorts of pursuit. And quickly closing out and closing down on the defense is Abduli Jada. Holy smoke, did he sniff that one out. The pass was caught by Roberts, and he had nowhere to go. Ollie Gay right there for another loss. Another 5-yard loss, and now it's 3rd down and 20 with the ball on the 25. Tingstad is going to have to light one downfield, and here it goes. Got plenty of time. Great job in the pocket. Now will roll out to his right. Throws downfield, almost picked off, almost caught, and then finally falls incomplete. Ball intended for Zachary Plummer, the 6'2", 180-pound tight end, only a junior. A lot of juniors that get starting roles on this Meadowdale team, but we mentioned that a lot of turnover at the top of the ranks last year between last season and this season. And now a 4th down and long, and this will get punted away. And here it is, nice. Actually lost it in the sky. Really wasn't that great a punt. Shanked it off his foot, may have made midfield. We'll see where they spot the football. So 4 plays on that drive results in a punt. And Edmonds-Woodway will get the football inside Meadowdale territory. We'll see what they can do. Only 53 seconds left in the half. Excuse me, in the first quarter. A long first quarter after the injury. And Jackson will give it right back to his workhorse. Bounces off one tackle. Now will bust back up inside, and Reinford will pick up. Now a fumble. It's on the turf, and Meadowdale gets the ball back. Halen Roberts falls on the football, and what looked like it would have been an 8-yard gain. Reinford can hold on, and you're almost back to right where you were with field position before all the penalties there. Meadowdale gets it right at the 35-yard line. So the first turnover of the ball game is Reinford's fumble. And now a full head of steam into the pile. Brock Duncan on the carry. Haven't mentioned him yet tonight. 5'10", 155-pound junior. Yet another one of those juniors. And there's the handoff once again. This time no doing, no gain. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Edmonds-Woodway jerseys in there, including Spencer Schultz, the middle linebacker, 55. And that will round out the quarter. So we're at the end of one. 7-7 the score, and we'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network. Stadium Jam continues. Don't go anywhere. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. So 1 quarter in the books, 7-7 your score, exactly what you'd expect early out of Stadium Jam. Good, hard foot, evenly played football so far through the first 12 minutes. And now Tingstad back to pass, will swing one out, caught, and in the seam, and off to the races. Not a soul will catch him. Touchdown, White and the Mavericks. Harrison White. .69 yards, and was able to find a crease between 3 defenders. And once he got past that backfield, afterburners applied fully, and it was gone time. White turning on the octane, the juice. And we've got an extra point to make it 14-7. And another big play strike for the Meadowdale Mavericks. Double the lead. Here to start the second quarter of play. We'll stick it right here on the Sound Live Sports Network. So a 61-yard pass play to open things up. Meadowdale getting on the board early. A 7-0 play after a flea flicker. Kind of caught Edmonds-Woodway off guard. And then a long sustained drive, 77 yards on 9 plays. Tyler Reinford, a 1-yard scramble into the end zone that made it 7-7. A Meadowdale punt, and Edmonds-Woodway fumbled. And then Meadowdale on their own 35-yard line, able to connect up. And Harrison White able to catch a beautiful pass from Tingstad, threading the needle for 69 yards to make it 14-7. And now we'll get ready to kick things off as Julio Abad will do the kicking for the Mavericks. And there's a little squib kick, and it's caught at the 35-yard line, getting around in and off to the races. Finds himself a will-be running back is Dominic Lawrence. One of those special teams guys that probably doesn't get to touch the ball much, and you could tell he is fired up. That's one of those you're going to remember from Friday night a couple of years from now. The time you got in and are able to catch a kickoff and make some hay. And Edmonds-Woodway will start at their own 47-yard line. So Edmonds-Woodway has really enjoyed some great field position, no doubt about it. Jackson in the shotgun has one beside him. And now will fumble the football and has to just fall, and he may not have gotten it back. Now there's a scrum, and Jackson does come up with it. Yikes. Costa Cooper in the backfield for Edmonds-Woodway. The looked like was supposed to receive the handoff, or at least the play action. And now Costa will play the fullback right in front of Tyler Reinford, two split wide receivers. And now Jackson, play action fake, back to pass, will go right over center. And almost picked off. Great job in defense by Jesse Navlet, the defensive back. That one intended for David Woodard, who's already had a couple of nice catches tonight. And that'll bring up a long third down after the fumble. 3rd down and 12. Jackson saw something he liked downfield and unleashed. That one had some sauce on it. And now in the shotgun formation, well, they'll try a little bubble screen. Outside it goes. Here's into the pile. 2 yards. Jalen Nash with the reception, picks up 2, 5'6", 150-pound junior. Not a big fella. And now 4th down. So Jackson will give way to the punter. Again, Jake Stevenson getting all the duty tonight, punting and kicking. And heading into the half, you don't want the damage to be any more than 7 points if you can help it. And one long, good, sustained drive may erase the 10 minutes and change that are left on the clock. Here is Stevenson, takes a long couple of steps. That one gets an Edmonds-Woodway bounce. And now we'll be down at the 28, 29-yard line. They mark it on the 24. And now we'll see what concoction Matt Leonard, first-year head coach on this varsity Meadowdale coaching staff, can draw up. He's already drawn up 2 dandies. One a little seam route. Tingstad was able to hit White for a 69-yard score, and now they'll put kind of a pistol formation, and now here's the handoff, and no go. Edmonds-Woodway with 4 green jerseys right at the ball carrier. Tyree Carson, senior. Not a lot of success on the inside, on that inside handoff for Meadowdale so far tonight. Most of their success running the football has gone off tackle, and even then more than that, the majority of the success is coming through the air on the hands and arms of Tingstad. There's a throw that got just over the head of Harrison White, that one of those favored targets right now for Tingstad. Of course, if you're 6'3" and $170, got speed like we just saw White have, you can see why he is a favorite target, no doubt about it. 3rd down. 10 yards to go, a little over 10 yards to go. White's the receiver on the far side. You got twins on the near side. That's Roberts and Nate Navlet. And now Tingstad will have to turn it up. Schultz right there to greet him, along with Ollie Gay. So the defensive end and a penalty flag now may give Meadowdale. And this is one of those things that Edmonds-Woodway was bit by the other night. And that's a little extracurricular activity, just not knowing when to pull the brakes up after the play. And it cost them a couple of first downs, and this one will probably do the very same thing. We get from a 3rd down, and it would have been a 4th down situation. And after the personal foul, and they mark off 15 yards, you'll allow your rival to keep the drive going. And not only that, it hurts your momentum and just makes teammates start to question one another. And then late into the ball game now, entering in is Tyler Reinford, and thought maybe the play was over and the punt squad would be coming on. Twins to the near side, White on the far side. There's a play action fake, and now they're going to have to just get rid of it. There's the penalty flag on the far side. We'll see what that's about. But Tingstad wisely just getting rid of that, throwing it into the bleachers and keeping the possession. So conferring are the referees. Reed Whitson kind of shrugging his shoulders like, what is all that about? And I think this one's going to go against Edmonds-Woodway. We'll see what the call is. Illegal substitution. And that may have been on Reinford entering the ball game after everybody had come to the line. John Gradwall, head coach for Edmonds-Woodway, not pleased at all. And now, after 2 penalties, you've given 30 yards to the Meadowdale Mavericks. You're going to have to hold on for another 8 minutes. This gets a little interesting now. So Meadowdale, after 3 plays, they started back on the 24, and here they are already in Edmonds-Woodway territory, but it's been due to the 30 yards in Edmonds-Woodway penalties. Have far outgained the yardage on the ground. 2nd and 9. There's another tackle right on that inside handoff. It really has not gone great for the Meadowdale Mavericks. That time Carson with the carry picks up 2, maybe 2. But Meadowdale, especially the way some of their teams in the last couple of years have played, they'll give up 1 or 2 yards inside just to suck you in and be able to draw up that play to go over the top. So look out deep here on 3rd down. White on the far side. Twins on the near side. Trips on the near side. Solo back. There's Tingsad on the fire. Out of bounds, but a great effort by White. Harrison White, the intended receiver, he looked like he had it and would have been in bounds for the 1st down, but just couldn't grab the handle. And it falls incomplete. 4th down. Meadowdale, why not? Inside the 50. Chance to go, and you get the hard count, and that will cost you again. Ollie Gay across the line early. Same with Reed Whitson. So the 2 on the left-hand side, the linebacker and the outside end. We'll give Meadowdale another positive yards on penalty. So E-Dub is going to have to erase the mistakes if they're going to stick in this ball game. Play action. Pass is caught over the middle, and that will be the 1st down. And another penalty flag thrown. Zachary Plummer on the catch for the 1st down, and this one will go. Another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Edmonds-Woodway. Their 3rd 15-yard penalty of the game, or of the drive. And Coach Gradwall is beside himself on the sideline. So now it went from bury him and try to get out of here in this 1st half with as little damage done as possible to absolutely shooting yourself in the foot. So half the distance to the goal line. They don't even have 15 yards to give. They've gotten so many penalties. 1st and 10 on the 13. There's the handoff. Inside it goes. Given to Carson for a gain of 4. And that one goes over the head on the snap, and that is a huge break for Edmonds-Woodway. And now you can take a little bit of a breath if you're the Edmonds-Woodway defense. A loss of 16 yards on the misplay, on the misfire from center to quarterback. And now a timeout, and Meadowdale wants to talk things over and try to keep from making any more of a sloppy game than it already is. We'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network. Meadowdale 14, Edmonds-Woodway 7. We'll be right back on the Sound Live Sports Network. It hasn't exactly been a highlight reel last 5 minutes of play here at Edmonds District Stadium. Almost 60 yards in penalties. A misplay. There's the long ball into the end zone, overthrows everybody, including the intended receiver. Well, White, even with his speed, wasn't about to get down and catch up to that one. A nice ball aired out by Tingstad, but that'll bring up 4th down. So we've had really only 2 plays from scrimmage, a couple of dives up the middle. And those aren't really anything to write home about. And then sandwiched around those have been penalties, broken plays, more penalties, and penalties. 4th down, 23 yards to go with the ball on the 26-yard line. This field goal attempt. Good hold, good kick. It is, hits the upright and falls out, no good. Great effort. That about 7 yards up the post. And Abad almost knocked it through. And that would have been about a 40-yard field goal. And it's no good. So Edmonds-Woodway now with a chance to try to even the score heading into the locker room and get a new ball game. So I have 5 official plays from scrimmage. I'm maybe off one there for that last Meadowdale drive. They were able to march all the way down to the 13-yard line at one point in time. Here's Reinford with the handoff on the right-hand side. That gets 8 yards. We'll see what kind of fatigue Reinford has in the second half, getting the majority of the play calls bearing his number. Jackson will head up to the line of scrimmage. And he's got 2 in the backfield. It'll be Reinford again off the left-hand side, able to get past 2 Mavericks, lean forward just close to the first down. I think he's got it. Yes, he does. So first down, the clock will continue to move on the 2nd down and 3. We've seen the arm of Jackson so far, this quarterback for Edmonds-Woodway. We probably will get to see what he does with his legs. A very active quarterback, probably more rambler than Tingstad, who is more the true pocket passing quarterback for the Mavericks. Jackson already a couple of bootleg rollouts, but he can turn it up too. Twins on the far side, high formation in the backfield. There's that rollout. Now we look across, there's the catch over the middle. That's number 30, Reed Whitson. And Whitson picks up the first down. Whitson has already been the recipient of a couple nice plays out of that tight end slot. 5'11", 185-pound senior. $15 yards and the first down for Whitson. Looks like he's a basketball 5'11", not a football 5'11". He's a little shorter than what's in the guide here. There's the handoff. This time a rare break from a carry of Tyler Reinford. It's Abdullah Jada. Jada doing a nice job of shake and bake to get across midfield for 6 yards. Jada only a junior. Probably in line to inherit this running back spot next season, but this season sharing time with the senior Reinford. 4 minutes to go on the clock. Past midfield goes Jackson and company. And there's the handoff to the left-hand side. Almost lost the football for a second. Was Graydon Heron. Graydon wearing that elusive 18 that I could not find in my media guide here. First down and 10. Ball on the 44. Continuing to move is Edmonds-Woodway. This is their fifth play of the drive, rather. Jackson has 3 wideouts, 2 near us, and Heron in the backfield. There's the little throw out and almost picked off. He might have done it. And that could go horribly awry for Edmonds-Woodway. It does. There's the pickoff. Halen Roberts, we've called him a couple of times. He's been in outstanding coverage there on that defensive back. Makes the step into coverage and realizes that the ball's coming his way. Is able to slide right in front of the intended receiver for the pickup of the interception. And that is the second turnover for Edmonds-Woodway. And now with 3 minutes and 40 seconds, hey, why not? Let's go for another touchdown, says Tingstad. There's the swing out play. Caught into the flat he goes and unearthed about the midfield and the first down marker. Zachary Plummer with the reception. He's had a couple of nice ones playing tight end. Little wide pop. That time going into the flat on the left-hand side. First down and 10. Maiden Ablett, Roberts on the near side along with the tight end. Plummer. Harrison White on the far side. Now they'll put Roberts in motion. There's the interior handoff. No go. Three-yard loss. Second down and 12. Same formation for the Mavericks. The sun just tipping behind the clouds there. We've seen a little bit of daylight on the sunset. There's a long pass. It is caught, but not for much. That looked like Plummer again, and he's hurt. He's down after getting crunched to the ground by Spencer Schultz, wearing number 44. One of the captains of this Edmonds-Woodway defense. And now Plummer will sit up and now lay back down slowly as the trainers come out onto the field. So that's another one banged up for the Meadowdale Mavericks. Can't go to the stable too many more times if you get some of these big playmakers that continue with injury. And now with third down, we've got about 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go here in this first half of play between Meadowdale and Edmonds-Woodway. Edmonds-Woodway Terrace, Mount Lake Terrace, here at the 8 o'clock game a week from tonight. Sound Live Sports Network will be there. Hope you'll join us. And then they face Linwood away back here at Edmonds Stadium. Again, Sound Live Sports Network with the call on the 8 p.m. game on the October 2nd game. Edmonds-Woodway facing Shorecrest and Shorewood, and then Glacier Peak. They make the trip out to Snohomish and Veterans Memorial Stadium. That game on STSPN. Our broadcast partner up at Glacier Peak and the Snohomish. Doing the Snohomish game tonight. Monroe up at Memorial Stadium, Veterans Memorial Stadium in Snohomish. 3rd down and 7. Ball on the 46. Tingstad avoids one tackle and then has to make a dive forward, and that will be 4th down. Getting into the backfield, a number of Edmonds-Woodway Warriors. But the man that ended up making most of the play happen was Tyler McAtee. 5'11", 185 pounds sophomore. Great to see the sophomore. And now Tyler Reinford gets some ants in his pants and jumps the line again. The second penalty in encroachment tonight. And you can just tell the way he thinks, can't you? He's going to try to get every advantage he possibly can. And now he'll be pulled out to have a talk with head coach. I say talk. 4th down, 3 to go now. Drive kept alive. Schultz showing stunning blitz. And now a full house in the receiving core. They'll move another one out there. Now here comes the pass. They'll go right over the middle, in and out of the arms of the intended receiver, Jesse Navlet. Blay, excuse me. I think I've been saying that wrong all weekend. 1st and 10. My apologies. 1st down for Edmonds-Woodway after a downs. Nobody out of it, nobody really in control either here in this ball game. A couple of good plays, a lot of bad ones. Namely penalties. Very, very undisciplined and sloppy so far, even at a high school game. And there's Jackson. First time we've seen him take off and run, and did not go well. Now we've got another injured Maverick down on the field. And I wonder if Jackson didn't step on his hand. I believe that's Austin. Well, I can't speculate. Hard to tell right now. It's Isaiah Richards, 5'9", 195 pounds. And I think when Jackson was able to shake one or two defenders, Richards went down, but left a big pie out there, and Jackson got a stab at it, and accidentally, of course. It was certainly not intentional. When you're being tackled by 4 other guys, you really don't know where your feet are. But 53 seconds to go here in the half. Edmonds-Woodway just trying to put maybe 2 plays together. That's really all they're looking for at this point in time, getting any kind of momentum at all. There's a man in motion. That's Jalen Nash. And now around the end and getting some running room, continuing to run. Nash with the carry and gets the 1st down. Yeah, that's a bit of a mix-up on the play call. You kind of like that. Play to put a man in motion, and then a penalty flag will probably take that right on back. And Edmonds-Woodway just cannot buy a break at this point. And that's really been the story of the game, without question. And I imagine, I don't have the details in front of me. I'll try to get them for you at the half, but I imagine they've amassed more penalty yards than they have offensive yards, total yards offense. We'll find out. Jackson with the rollout on the bootleg, has a 2-man open. They'll go over the middle. It's caught, and they say no, incomplete. The intended receiver was Grayson Fisher. No. Excuse me, that's David Woodard. Woodard coming over from the slot. And now 29 seconds to go here in the half. Edmonds-Woodway, I think, just right now needs a half to end. Get in, get settled down. Come back out and try to get another 24 minutes of football in that's meaningful in the second half. It's been tough so far here in the first. Jackson again will roll out slightly to his left. And now he'll have to reverse course. Gets it by at one tackler and now looks downfield, and he'll just turn it up. There's Jackson now. Will boot run past the first down marker and out of bounds. Picks it up. 14 seconds on the clock to give his team a shot at the end zone. Timeout is the call on the field. And what do you do here? A huge 28-yard pickup. And that's what we talked about with having not seen Jackson's legs yet. And there is the display. And what do you do? Well, 14 seconds. You can probably run an out route and try to pick up another 10 quickly. And if not, you're going to go through the air most likely because you don't want to burn any clock on a rush. And I think all you're doing now is getting into the arm strength somewhere on the field where the arm strength of Isaac Jackson can dictate a final throw near, at, or beyond the end line and try to get his team into the end zone one final time to even the score. It's a tall call. So Tyler Reinford, Reed Whitson, and go into receiving mode alongside Jalen Nash on the near side, and you've got David Woodard on the far side, and there's the blitz. Now Jackson just has to try to get rid of it. That one will be incomplete off the big mitt and knocked down there by I believe that's big 55. It is. C.J. Lewis. And I say big at 220. 5'9", and a whole lot rushing at Isaac Jackson. Jackson lucky just to get rid of it. Jackson only 5'10", 180 pounds, and now another timeout on the field. That play took a while to develop. 14 seconds on the clock ahead of that play, and now only 6 remain. And he didn't even get a playoff, incomplete. And you may have some arm display here. Jackson arm strength display. We'll see what they can do. And they may even try a hook and ladder. We've seen that before out of a lot of high school teams. Throw the ball onto the sideline and have a running back or another receiver coming in close pursuit for a quick pitch. It may end the first half the way we saw the first play of scrimmage. A little flea flicker, but I imagine it's not going to be a straight play with only 6 seconds to go. We'll see what head coach John Gradwell will draw up. So trips on the far side on the short porch. You got Woodard here on the near side, and back to pass is Jackson. Jackson under some pressure, now steps into a ball. That one is going to go caught, and it will not be enough to get into the end zone, but a heck of an effort into a triple team as David Woodard hauls down the pass at the 5-yard line. But too little, too late, as Edmonds-Woodway has run out of clock time. And into the locker room they go, down 7 points to the Meadowdale Mavericks. 14-7 at the half. Stadium Jam. We'll come right back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches. Coathletics.com, the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and all schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
Shoreline Community College, Sound Auto Dealers Association have been recognized internationally for its pioneering in finding a new way to deliver technical training for automotive repair.
Welcome back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Meadowdale 14, Edmonds-Woodway 7, and Jam the Stands. Crosstown rivalry matchup that most pundits said that would go the other way. They had, I think, the entire Herald Pick'em, Pick'em squad had Edmonds-Woodway winning this ball game. Tom Lafferty, KRKO Radio, had Edmonds over Woodway. David Kruger, the writer for the Herald newspaper, Edmonds-Woodway over Meadowdale. Steve Willits, our own very own Steve Willits, had Edmonds-Woodway over Meadowdale. The lone holdout was Aaron Lammers of the Herald, had Meadowdale over E-Dub. So I'd like to welcome in Ron Henthord from our sister station at STSPN. And Ron, you've been in the stands here watching this one for a while. And you see what the group has said there. They think Edmonds-Woodway's got the inside track, and so far it's not to be.
Well, I think that there's a possibility that can happen. What I saw was just a lot of yellow flags out there since I've been here, and I think they made more yards with yellow flags than they did, except for that last long pass play at the end. But having said that, that last long pass play proved to me that they got a receiver that can go up and get the ball out there. And if they go up and get the ball, they're going to throw some more balls to him. And I think they're going to see some more yards on the air from Edmonds-Woodway.
And I think that was the first time we really saw any arm strength or any testing of the arm of Isaac Jackson, too.
I think so. And that was probably, what was that, like good 40 yards?
Oh, at least 45 yards.
Yeah.
By the time he dropped back into cover or back into the pocket, it was probably a 45-yard pass.
Yeah, it was. So I saw good things with Edmonds-Woodway out there, so I wouldn't give this game up for anybody yet right now based on what I've seen so far. So you go into halftime and you go in there and you say, okay, here's what we're doing wrong, and we got all these penalties, and some of them were unnecessary, but they'll fix those. But I think that you're going to see them come out in the second half here and be a lot tighter team. And I'm looking for them to even come back and get really strong in this game. So there's
those games that you go into halftime and you sense that things aren't right. But you mentioned a key word in there. I think it's fixable.
It's fixable, yes.
And if you can go in there and have the players believe that it was fixed when they leave the locker room, you may have a fighting shot when you come back out.
Yeah, so speaking of fix, when I got here, you guys were like burning up airtime because one of the young players over there from Meadowdale got injured out there.
Yeah, Tyler Ruby, a senior middle linebacker for the Mavericks, hit the turf, and of course nothing makes parents' hearts leap up into their throat than to see that young man sitting out there on the turf. That's a tough call.
Yeah.
But it also makes people come alive when you see the triumphant raise of the arms from the young man as he's getting hauled off to let everybody know that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be okay. Not sure exactly what happened to him, but he was alert, feeling good, and probably going to be just fine. But you got to go check those things out, whether it was a head injury or whatever it was. I think he'll be fine though. So
we can only hope it's precautionary and nothing more than that. Meadowdale Mavericks, even though they kind of took a drubbing last weekend to the Mount Lake Terrace Hawks, under the very steady mindset of Caleb Tingstad, have really shown they've got some weaponry of their own.
They do, yeah. I think you're going to see some more scoring in this game, probably by both teams. Probably, I'm going to predict this score is going to be 34-28, and I'm not going to tell you who's going to get 34.
Okay, well that's probably pretty accurate. We'll see.
So it's going to be
it
close.
Really comes down to if they clean up the game just a little bit. And of course, I meant Drew Tingstad, Caleb already having graduated, but still quarterback out there. Very steady, very calm, and has a heck of a host of receivers. We've already seen Nat Navle with a 61-yard reception on the very first play of the game on a flea flicker that went over the top of everybody to make it 7-0. And then Edmonds-Woodway's Tyler Reinford, who they've used an awful lot. We saw him go into a 1-yard dive off the right side to make it 7-7, and then things got a little uncorked. The wheels fell off the bus right after that. You had a punt, you had a lost fumble, and then you had a beautiful little seam route. Tingstad hitting White for a touchdown, 69 yards into the flat and through the seam, and 14-7 was the score there just after the break. And then you got a punt, a missed field goal, interceptions, 2 turnovers on downs, and then the half.
Yeah. Well, that was a long first half, and those are a lot of the things that were interesting to have happen. But I think that the Edmonds-Woodway is going to look different this second half, and that's what I'm expecting to see. And there's a crowd out here is like crazy.
Isn't that fun?
I mean, I came in here and I said, I can't even find a place to park. And I thought,
let alone find a place to sit.
Well, I thought something else was going on at the school, like a volleyball game or whatever else that they have going on. And I came in the stadium here, and it's packed. And that's probably because both of these are home teams at this stadium.
Yeah, within a couple miles of each other. And this is the home stadium for both of them.
Yeah.
So they almost feel like they're having a home game, and you hear the cheering. They're having their annual cheer-off right now between the two student bodies on who is going to get the W. And the winner student body president gets to put a pie in the face of the losing team or losing school's student body president.
Okay, well, who's judging that, my friend?
Well, it looks like Paul down there is judging some of it. I'm not entirely sure. He may have a whole host of judges down there on the field. I'm not entirely sure. But they're certainly having a good time, and that's really what this is all about. High school football on a Friday night, entertaining for the student body, entertaining for the families, and there won't be a whole lot of voices that can carry another game, I don't think, tonight anyway.
Well, at least not from this crowd, but then this is the first of a doubleheader here tonight, as you know. So
right.
Coming up after this.
Linwood and the Glacier Peak Grizzlies come off the plateau to come down the hill and face the Royals in the 8 o'clock game. And I know you guys have been covering the Glacier Peak team for quite a while, and they've always been such a juggernaut, especially in football at the 3A level. And what are your thoughts on that second game?
Well, I think Glacier Peak's much stronger this year than they were even last year, and so I'm looking for them to be, pretty powerful against Linwood in that game. I think Glacier Peak's going to score up in the 35, 40 point range and probably hold the defense down in the 20 range somewhere. So they've got just a lot of depth on GP. They've got Devin Rainbow, their starting quarterback, and then they've got two more right behind him that are look just as good as he does, and one of them's a freshman. So,
oh wow, they'll be good for a while.
And last week they got so far ahead, they had all three of them playing, and by the time the third string quarterback was in there playing, I don't know if he was playing against their third string or not, but he was just running all over the place. And in fact, right toward the end of the game, he was going to throw a pass, and everybody was covered, so he swings around the outside end, and he runs about 35 yards in for a touchdown. And the coaches are saying, no, we didn't want to
run it up.
We didn't want to run the score up. We didn't mean to do that. I said, you can't stop the kid from running. He's out there. He's not going to get tackled.
Well, especially he doesn't have a whole lot of PT, a lot of snaps coming his way in a varsity atmosphere. You got to make the best of it.
Got to make the best of it, yeah.
Well, last year we talked about how the early part of the season really kind of set the stage for the playoffs. Really, second game of the year, third game of the year, when you got Meadowdale and Edmonds-Woodway went into double overtime, and Meadowdale ended up winning that. And then really it was going to be Meadowdale versus Glacier Peak in that fourth game of the season, where Glacier Peak I believe they came down. Was it they came down here? Let me go look real quick. Meadowdale went to Glacier Peak and beat them 30-19.
Right.
And that really was the season. You play two back-to-back weeks and you eliminate the top dogs.
Yep.
And you can just coast right into that number one slot.
And we're looking at that coming up here. Glacier Peak's got a big game coming up on October 2nd against Bellevue. And that game is
storied Bellevue.
And that game's followed right behind, I think, with Terrace. You got the schedule here with you?
Mount Lake Terrace is, let's see, that's the Meadowdale game.
On October 2nd, is it Terrace or Edmonds? Is it Edmonds?
I don't have the Mount Lake Terrace schedule here. Glacier Peak and Edmonds-Woodway are the very final game of the year.
Yeah. But I think it's a Terrace game after they play Bellevue, which is going to be a tough game. But as you know, Bellevue lost a big game already this year.
They have.
And they're not ranked number one in the state anymore.
For the first time since the Reagan administration, I believe.
Since way back in the old days, yeah.
So that Glacier Peak team has certainly been at the top of the ranks. And one team that they'll have to face, you mentioned Mount Lake Terrace. That's a team that's kind of one of those up-and-comers. They really put some upsets together last year and were right there at the top of the standings.
Yeah.
And, ended up third at a 5-2 record. They were matched to pace with Glacier Peak. Actually ended up with a better record at 8-4 than Glacier Peak 6-4 on the season. But, we'll have to look.
Terrace always tough in football and in other sports as well, basketball and so on. So.
Well, Ron, we got a minute to play, so we'll cut you loose. But any prognostication on the game coming up at 8 o'clock, Glacier Peak, Linwood? I think you said 34 for Glacier Peak. What do you think Linwood's going to spot?
Probably 20-21.
Okay. Well, that's a good football game.
That should be a good game. You going to stick around and watch it?
I may just do that very thing. I know I've been asked to text some scores back and forth, so I'm sure you've been given that same duty.
I will. I'll go back and enjoy the rest of this game. And Steve, thanks for having me up here.
All right, Ron Henthorn, thank you very much for being with us, and good luck in the season. I know we're going to find you here shortly. It's always fun working with you.
We'll get back to it. Thanks.
All
again,
right, take care.
Bye.
And we'll take another quick break before we get to start the second half here on the Sound Live Sports Network. Meadowdale 14, Edmonds-Woodway 7. We'll be back in a bit. Perfect atmosphere for high school football here at Edmonds District Stadium. The band cooking. Both sides bringing a full house student body. And of course all the parents head to toe in green and white for Edmonds-Woodway and navy and white for the Meadowdale Mavericks. A lot of families sitting within one another even though they're clad differently. Game everybody looks forward to and talks about for Long time. Edmonds-Woodway will get the kick to start the second half of play. And they're down a touchdown right now. We'll see what they can do on their first series from scrimmage. And they're going to have to, like Ron Henthorne mentioned, they're going to have to tighten things up. There's just no question about it. That had to be bullet points number 1 through 9 on the chalkboard. In the locker room for Edmonds-Woodway, there's a little chip shot taken in about the 25-yard line. Picks up 1 block, now cuts back across the grain. And Edmonds-Woodway will take the over. They will mark the ball at the 32. Meadowdale defensive backs have really not done anything but a perfect job tonight, except for that last pass play, the 45-yarder. And here's Reinford on the student body left, gets into the traffic and pulls forward for 6 yards and stays in bounds. But Tyree Carson and Nick Navlet, Jesse Navlet over on the left side, cornerback. And even Aylin Roberts, those 4 have really played pretty locked down at their position. If you're the Mavericks, you've got to be pleased with their play. And it took a very acrobatic play at the last play of the game in order to keep things interesting. And here's the keeper now. And busting outside is Isaac Jackson. He's got some running room past the 40-yard line now. Toward the 30 near the near sideline is finally drug out of bounds, and trying to punch it free is Jesse Navlet. But Jackson almost looked like it was going to be one of those wildcat plays, snapped directly to the man in motion. And off to the races goes Jackson. 30-yard line is, 30-yard pickup. They'll mark the ball at the 21-yard line. First and 10. Warriors on the move. 2 wideouts on the far side. They'll pitch it to Reinford. Gets past the 20, crunch, and down to the 12. Fall is knocked out after being tackled. Isaiah Richards there, along with Jesse Navlet. And Reinford trying to hype this crowd. You can tell he's an excitable fella. That's just the way some kids play. He's one of those. High energy. Crazed look. Ready to make a smash and a pile. Second down and 1. Jackson now with a pitch. Almost gets away from Reinford, who has to gather it up on the carom and is able to get the first down. I'm not even sure how that ball made it after pinballing around off the shoulder of the fullback. Reaching back was Reinford. And gets the first down inside the 10, so goal to go. Fourth play of the drive. Heron in the fullback, Reinford behind him in I formation. They'll give it to Reinford, and why not? He's a workhorse. Down to the 4, 5-yard pickup. And you've got to credit the offensive line for Edmonds-Woodway. 2 rushes to the right, 2 to the left. And it shows that this line is not afraid to go either direction, nor is head coach John Gradwell. He doesn't feel like he's got a weak side or a strong side. He's going to go whichever way he feels he can make some forward progress. Same formation, same result. Pitching off to Reinford, gets down near the goal line, but short. And that'll bring up third down. Edmonds-Woodway has gone 66 yards in 6 plays. Looking for the last 2 here on third down. and see if they can't get this score even at 14. There's the handoff. Reinford into the pile. Touchdown, E-Dub. Reinford with a little bit of Reinford and some Reinford sprinkled in there on that drive. The mass of the yardage was picked up on that drive by Isaac Jackson, the quarterback, but it was the workhorse that got him to the promised land. Into the end zone, Tyler Reinford. 9 minutes to go on the clock. Here's the kick. It is up by Jake Stevenson and through, and we were knotted. At 14 apiece, it is Stadium Jam, and it's a good one. Edmonds-Woodway, Meadowdale. We'll take a short break and be back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Seven plays, 68 yards, just under 2 minutes of offense. And a 2-yard Reinford score is second of the day. He evens Edmonds-Woodway with Meadowdale here in Stadium Jam at Edmonds District Stadium. Keith Neely and the Hawkeye crew being led by Mighty Angelo Camo. The first play from scrimmage for Meadowdale will start on their own 20 after the touchback. Tingstad will get the play call in from the sideline. He's got trips in the near side, trips on the far side, and now the handoff straight away goes into the running back, Marshall. 2 yards. Edmonds-Woodway defensive backfield having to do a lot of coverage in single man. I think that's what they're trying to do, is force Edmonds-Woodway into single man coverage and man-on-man coverage the majority of the time here. Now they'll put trips, now a man in motion straight away, and now asking for the handoff straight up the middle once again is Marshall. Another 2 yards. Second down now turns to third down and 5 with 8:23 to go. Once again, a tight-knit group of receivers just outside the tight end. And now they'll put the man in motion. That's Plummer. And a play-action fake out. Rolls Tingstad, catches Plummer with an open pass just past the first down marker and out of bounds. Well executed, well called, well-timed play for Meadowdale to keep things alive. And you really get the sense that it's the first slip-up from a team here in the second half that may be what dictates this football game's outcome. Meadowdale starting on their own 20 on this drive. Already this being the fourth play, and they try to go right up the middle. A spin and a back pedal by Kayla Marshall and nowhere to go. Ends up losing 2 yards. E-Dub, that front four, putting a big push on. Michael Swires and Spencer Schultz in there on the tackle on that one. Back to pass is Tingstad. Has a bubble screen set up for him, and now a great open field tackle by Abdullah Jada. That was picture perfect from a cornerback. The pass was caught. Harrison White with it. But Jada, who is much diminutive to Harrison White, was able to get the stop in open field and make it 3rd down. Tingstad now will put that full lineup of receivers into his employ with the single back. I believe that's Marshall. Now back to pass. Tingstad has to step up in the pocket, and he has one man to beat. Gets by him, and now it's off to the races. Tingstad will just run out of bounds, and that will be Meadowdale 1st down. Edmonds-Woodway had a couple of chances to get him in the backfield, and once Tingstad was able to get open field, that contain broke down with all those receivers running out in front of him. It took a while to get Edmonds-Woodway bodies back. Another 1st down. Already 33 yards on the drive. 6:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Tied at 14. Here's the bubble screen out into the right-hand flat. Plummer with a big pop near the 1st down marker. I believe picks up another 1st down, or at least close. Xander Hall, Spikuza on the stop for the Warriors, but wasn't before a pretty decent pickup, and now a 1st down after the keeper. No, it wasn't a keeper. It was a Marshall handoff on the interior side. 5'9", 185 pounds, running right downhill to the 31-yard line. So yet another 1st down for the Mavericks. And this drive looking very nice, coming together and gelling well. Marshall another 2. And that may be all you're asking from your running back right now, Marshall. If you can pick up the 8 and 10 yards, great. But let's just get 2. Get 1, get 2. Keep things forward. And see if you can lull this Edmonds-Woodway defense to sleep enough to get a big pass play over the top. Tingstad will put a man in motion. And now will hesitate and have to go out to the races. And there's a penalty flag. Smash. Ollie Gay in on the stop for the Warriors, but another yellow hanky on the play. Looked like it was in the Edmonds-Woodway backfield. We'll get the indication. Face mask penalty on Edmonds-Woodway. So E-Dub continues to get the penalty bugaboo, and they just cannot get that monkey off their back. And after the loss, it was only a 5-yard face mask penalty, but still 2nd down and 4 with the ball on the 25. So threatening are the Mavericks with 4:39 to go. Now they'll put everybody into the backfield, and off to the races goes Tingstad, and he ends up still getting the 1st down, even though it was a busted play. Ball on the 20. And I don't know Drew Tingstad, but he is a very intelligent-looking quarterback. Tucks when he needs to, looks off when he needs to, makes throws when he needs to, makes safe throws. Can't ask for much more than that in a high school quarterback. And now here's the rollout. The Edmonds-Woodway defense looks like they're struggling a little bit with their wind. As Ollie Gay over there on that far side had to chase the quarterback all the way across the field, and he is really slow to walk back. E-Dub defense been on the field almost, let's see here, almost 6.5 minutes. Well, longer than that, 8 minutes. on the field. It's a long time and a quarter. And there's a pass over the middle, but it's a touchdown. The second of the night for Nate Navle after Drew Tingstad got absolutely annihilated in the backfield, is able to get the play off just as he was getting creamed. And it's good for a score. 2014 Meadowdale. Wow. $20 yards for the score on 8 plays. There's the kick. It is up, through, and good. We are once again looking at a touchdown lead for the Meadowdale Mavericks in Stadium Jam. With 3:57 to go, third quarter, Edmonds-Woodway. They're going to have to answer. We'll see if they can when we come back on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Shoreline Community College and Puget Sound Auto Dealers Association have been recognized internationally for its pioneering in finding a new way to deliver technical training for automotive repair.
Drew Tingstad got absolutely blown up on that touchdown pass to Nate Navle. And I believe that was Ollie Gay, at least it was on his side, the defensive end, coming in on the blitz. But was wise enough to get it out there just in enough time to hit number 2 for a 20-yard score and make it 21-14. Navle already scoring on the first play from scrimmage, and now putting his second of the night up. And Edmonds-Woodway will have to come back and see what they can do from their own 40-yard line. Still very good field position for Edmonds-Woodway tonight, and have really not been able to take great advantage of it so far through 2 and most of 3 quarters. There's the handoff, straight ahead and off to the races. Almost getting past the secondary is Abdullah Jada. We talked about him being a surprise before. Jada only the junior. And with as many carries and playing both ways from Tyler Reinford, you can imagine we may see a little more of Jada in here inserted in the second half. It remains to be seen. 1st and 10 inside Meadowdale territory. Here come the Warriors. 3:29 to go. There's the pitch out. Jada with it. And almost hurdles one defender. Quentin Borghetti with the stop on the play. Up-ended on a shoestring. Great reaching up and grabbing those cleats of Jada. 2nd down and 7. Jalen Nash on the near side, paired up with David Woodard. And now we have penalty flags. Isn't that a surprise? Penalty flags. Boy, I haven't seen many of those tonight at all. And that one will go against Edmonds-Woodway. At least that's what they're facing in order to march things off. It looked like it was a false start penalty. We'll get the call here in just a second. No, it was indeed encroachment. So that will bring up a 2nd down and 2-yard situation for Edmonds-Woodway. Here I was being all sarcastic, and I actually was right. Sometimes you get lucky. Nash in motion, and now Jackson just has to try to usher himself forward, and does. First down. Got past the line to make on pure will. No more than just pure strength and will from Isaac Jackson. Only had to get 2 yards, but was stopped in the backfield before he really had any momentum, and just sliced his body forward, churning those legs as best he could. Picks up the first down with the ball on the 35. Nice effort. Jackson hands it off. This time Tyler Reinford, penalty flag in the backfield. Reinford still on his feet, gets down to the 12-yard line. But a penalty will bring it back, holding against Edmonds-Woodway. So just as E-Dub gets things rolling, just like they did in the first half, they end up getting the flag thrown against them, and in deep trouble have to go back and try it again. That has got to be the most frustrating thing a coaching staff will have to endure. You do everything right, you call the right plays, you make sure that kids know their assignments in a complicated sport, very team-oriented sport. Everything has to mesh. And then somebody slips on the banana peel, and it all comes unraveled. So a 10-yard holding penalty will bring up 1st and 20, and they'll hand the ball off once again right up the middle to Reinford, who really gets not much more than 3 yards. So interesting play call there, trying to keep Meadowdale honest. The clock will start with 1:36 remaining in the third quarter. Twins on the near side, 2 in the I formation behind Jackson. And they'll hand the ball, no, play action fake now over the middle. Cut at the 25-yard line, drug down at the 20-yard line. Another outstanding catch by Reed Whitson. That young man is having himself a heck of a ball game in some critical times, but a penalty flag on the play. An illegal receiver downfield on Edmonds-Woodway, and now you almost feel like they're getting picked on. And the crowd not happy at all. So just as everything starts to click, the gas gauge goes to 0, and you put a thrower in reverse and sputter to a halt. And that's what these drives seem like they're doing for Edmonds-Woodway. Just cannot get a break. 2nd and 21. And a timeout being asked for by head coach John Gradwell. And it'll be interesting right now if he goes out and talks to the kids or if he talks to the white hat. Very evenly played game statistically if you throw out the penalties. But funny how this game just doesn't work that way. Forward yards is what the thing's about. And it seems like that Edmonds-Woodway has constantly been in reverse. And that's what cost them the game a year ago. Second overtime period, Edmonds-Woodway got down to the 2-yard line. At one point in time, looked like they had scored. And then an intentional grounding penalty, and I believe a holding penalty made it go the other direction. There's a great play by one of those defensive backs that we mentioned. This time it was Colby Saint, 6 foot, 190-pound senior. Saineth sniffed that one out. Boy, 3rd down and a long ways to go. Have trouble getting all the way to Meadowdale High School here. That's what it's going to feel like for Edmonds-Woodway, the distance they've got to go. Edmonds-Woodway will have to throw. Here's the long ball. Downfield it goes. Picked off. And it really doesn't hurt you too much. It's almost as if you punt at that point in time. Might as well give it a go. But not a bad play call, really. It'll go down as an interception for Jackson. The second turnover for Edmonds-Woodway after losing a fumble right before the half, or right before the first quarter and second quarter. And now with 19 seconds to go, we're almost through 3/4 of play with Meadowdale up by a touchdown, holding on to a one touchdown lead. And they've got the leather right now. Tingstad has Marshall behind him. Twins on the near side. Solo set on the far side. They hand to Marshall. Right into the pile, 3 yards deep. Everybody thinking Edmonds-Woodway would take this one. And it still might be possible. 3, 2, 1, and that will be the quarter. That will be the end of the third quarter. But E-Dub going to have to rally here in the final 12 minutes if they're going to answer the pundit's call. We'll see if they can pull it off. They're going to need a defensive stop to do it first. 21-14, Meadowdale over Edmonds-Woodway at the break. We'll be back with the final stanza on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the Westco Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's at westcoathletics.com, the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference.
Shoreline Community College and Puget Sound Auto Dealers Association have been recognized internationally for its pioneering.
As we start the first play of scrimmage in the fourth quarter, it's 2nd down and 7 with the ball on the 29. Meadowdale going from left to right in front of it. It's caught at the 40, out of bounds. It's a first down. Zachary Plummer, one of those chosen receivers, hauls in another very nice Tingstad pass for 10 yards in the first down. And now Tingstad will look over to his coaching staff and get the play call. High snap, they'll hand it off to Marshall. Gets one good nice block up the middle. It took 2 to bring him down. Spencer Schultz in on the tackle, along with Xander Hall-Spacuza. And that hadn't worked too well up until now, where those little interior handoffs to Marshall were only benefiting the Mavericks a yard or 2 at the most. That time, a beautiful pickup of 8. And it may show the conditioning of Edmonds-Woodway. There's another high snap and another Marshall handoff, this time near the first down marker. It will be 3rd down, just short. And one super important fact that should not go unmentioned is that Meadowdale has yet to turn the ball over tonight. And when you get a team that can play about as mistake-free as a high school football team can, it really makes a difference in the number of possessions you get, and the momentum of the game, the big plays, opportunities that you can put into your pocket. And we'll have a timeout now as we get a measurement on the Chain gang will come out right at midfield to see if we have a first down or not. Best seats in the house. Chain gang. Standing on the sideline, and it is a first down by a whisker. Meadowdale keeping the drive alive and looking to put an extra insurance touchdown up. And a score here would really help their cause at winning their second stadium jam in a row. Been back and forth the last 5 or 10 years. Seen some whopper games. Rarely are you disappointed as a fan of football. You might be as a fan of one of these two teams, but as a fan of football, they're always entertaining. Very entertaining. Now this one laden with penalties may not necessarily go down in the book as the best football game in the world, but scores are always fun to see. There's a stop in the backfield as Tyler Reinford is able to meet Marshall 2 yards deep. And the forward momentum puts him right back to the line of scrimmage. Second down and 10.
Second down and 10 for the Mavericks.
Tingstad now back into that familiar shotgun formation with Marshall to his right. Twins on the far, trips on the far side. Back to pass goes Tingstad. Plenty of time looking downfield. Now he'll tuck it up. He has some pursuit and slide right out of danger. He had 2 or 3 Warriors, including Tyler McAtee, chasing him down. And again, very heady play. Don't do more damage than you need to, or take more damage than you need to. Third down and 7. Big third down for Edmonds-Woodway defense. And here's the handoff, and met in the backfield and stopped for a loss. 4-yard loss. Logan Lambert right there with the stop, and that will bring on the punt team. So things get very interesting with 8:53 to go. Nash is back to receive for the Warriors. Abad with the high snap, almost snagged as Nash makes the fair catch right at the 20-yard line. So, here we go. Thanks for listening to the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll be here through most of the season right here at the District Stadium. Next week, we'll have the the Edmonds-Woodway Mount Lake Terrace affair, 8 o'clock p.m. on the broadcast. The late game. There's the handoff up the middle. It's Reinford. Tries to keep his feet still, trying to drag the pile forward, only picks up 2 yards. Ryan Newsom on the tackle. See a lot of smiles in the stands. Nothing quite like Friday night high school football. Second down and 8. There's the pitch. Reinford will take it, gets a little bit of running room, draws a block, now reverses pace and is crushed. And there's a little bit of extracurricular activity. Reinford wants somebody to do something about it because his team's seen his chair. Meadowdale defense holding steady. equally big third down now with 7:20 to go with the ball on the 24. Jackson under center. Will roll out, run into some danger, and has to get rid of the football. Still on his feet, will just throw it away. And two Meadowdale Mavericks up near the sideline collide, or that might have been picked. And now we've got a fourth down situation, although we've got Edmonds-Woodway, or the referees, conferring on whether that was an intentional grounding play or not. It was indeed intentional grounding. I don't know if it was that it didn't get past the line of scrimmage. It looked like it did, but it may not have. Regardless, it was more likely there was not a Edmonds-Woodway receiver in the area, so they'll back it all the way up to the end line. Another problematic penalty for Edmonds-Woodway, and it just keeps on giving. Holy smoke. I think they're going to have to start making them up. They've seen a little bit of every type of penalty you could imagine. Not that they aren't unearned. And certainly spread them out. And here's the punt. And that will be an Edmonds-Woodway bounce. It gets out toward midfield where it's finally downed and then knocked to the ground and near the sideline. Good job by Jake Stevenson to just buy some team distance from the goal line. The Edmonds-Woodway punter and kicker. So here you're probably getting down close to the final possession, the final drive of the game for both teams with, 7 minutes to play. Certainly anything's possible, especially if a turnover was seen here. Ball on the 42-yard line. There's a throw over the middle, almost picked off, and the defensive back on the play, Noah Becker, had he looked up, he would have had an interception. Instead, he had his eyes right in the line of sight of Nate Navley, the intended receiver, and wanted to make sure Navley did not catch the ball. But it sailed right about where he was, the ball right behind Navley, and Becker could have had himself a pick, or at least an attempt right there. 2nd down and 10. They hand the ball up straight up the middle. Marshall gets into the pile and has the ball stripped away, but after a gain of maybe 1 yard, they'll give him 1 yard, 3rd down and 9. Looks like an early season football game. These teams usually a little more crisp than tonight. Back to pass, Tingstad throws this one errant and wide. Intended receiver was Harrison White, who has a touchdown to his name tonight, a 69-yard pass play. And now Edmonds-Woodway with a chance to get the ball back. But they're running out of chances. Abad back to punt. Jalen Nash back to receive. High arcing kick. Nash takes it in right at the 6-yard line. Bearing down on him, a lot of white jerseys, and Nash doing a fine job of just concentrating and catching the football. So, eat up. We'll have to go 94 yards if they want to even the score. A tall task, although they did it, it looked fairly simplistically. 77-yard drive, their first drive of the game, was pretty much just ground out on the ground. A couple of nice pass plays. The ball is placed on the 7-yard line. They'll hand the ball up, straight up the middle, leaping a player. That will probably be a penalty. It usually is. And I know last year that cost Reinford a lot of yardage because he was given the penalty on hurdling the player, but that didn't get called that time. So first down. A 13-yard pickup. Put some high hurdles and 110 yards in front of Tyler Reinford and see what he can do. Reinford in motion, they'll hand it off. He'll turn the corner and finds a little running room. Now still moving forward up near the first down marker. He picks up another 10. Reinford wants this one. 20 yards in 2 plays. Heck of an average. 5:37 and counting. Move the chains, and the clock will now start ticking back down. Ball's on the 32-yard line. Here is the Nash handoff around end. He picks up 8. And we've seen that play work in a similar fashion early in the first half. They almost reverse. And Nash is able to come out of that slot spot on the far side. Comes right through the play. 2 yards to go, ball on the 40. 33 yards on this drive so far for Edmonds-Woodway. Play action, back to pass is Jackson, has a man open, caught at the 25-yard line, down to the 10. Edmonds-Woodway with a huge play, and David Woodard, a marvelous catch, showing off some speed, and the faithful for Edmonds-Woodway leaps to their feet here at Stadium Jam. $50 yards on the hookup from Isaac Jackson to David Woodard. And the ball put at the 10-yard line with 4 and change. Around the end, here goes Nash once again. Gets down near the pylon in the right corner, but is stopped short at the 3. And we've got a player down on the field, and it looks like it's Marshall grabbing his hand. And tucking his right arm up into his belly. And I think it's either his fingers and hands. I don't think it's his abdomen. So second down and goal to go with the ball on the 6-yard line. The Warriors threatening. 4:27 remain. 2 in the backfield and a penalty. The play blown dead. And the far line judge is tapping his helmet as if some of the players may not have had their equipment secured tight enough. I don't think I saw a penalty flag, and he's still tapping his jaw as if maybe somebody did not get a chin guard up or a mouthpiece in. So it will not result in any penalty. And here's the Reinford handoff. Gets in toward the middle, still on his feet, still driving forward, and may have gotten a yard, if that. Third down. They say no gain. Big third down. Of course, you've got 2 to burn. You're going to use them both. Goal to go on the 6. Just under 4 minutes remain. Plenty of time for Edmonds-Woodway. Should they get a couple of yards here? Here's the pitch. Outside it goes. Reinford gets drugged down at the 5 and out of bounds. Picks up 2 yards to the 4. Well, they say went out of bounds at the 6, so no gain. And now a timeout. We'll stay right here. Things get interesting. And the fans right in front of us, mostly Edmonds-Woodway fans, have gone quiet after the not quite goal line stance, but certainly a very good defensive showing by the Meadowdale Mavericks. First down and goal to go about the 10-yard line, 9-yard line. And so far through 3 plays, you've only given up 3 yards. And now John Gradwell is really having a heart-to-heart talk with the White Hat. And is not pleased, turns away, makes another few words over his shoulder, and now back into the huddle for Edmonds-Woodway. And I'm not entirely sure what that was all about. The ball will be placed on the near hash mark on the 6-yard line with goal to go, down a touchdown with 3:49 remaining on the clock. Thanks for watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Game of the week, Meadowdale Mavericks and the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors. And the first thing I bet you get here is a hard count chance. We'll see if Edmonds-Woodway tries to draw Meadowdale across the line. They do not. There's the play action bootleg. Jackson over the top, picked off at the end zone. Intended receiver was David Woodard. And it was picked off right in the end zone by Tyree Carson. Edmonds-Woodway going about 90 yards on that drive in 9 plays. Cannot put it in on a 1st and goal at the 9. And now we'll really have to put some tough defense together. It didn't hurt you terribly in that if it falls incomplete, the ball is basically placed right there anyway. So you got to make the throw. Great job of defense. Now you got to keep it out of the end zone if you're Meadowdale. That's the other struggle. And a penalty flag again. And everybody getting a little chippy now. Ollie Gay in there, mixing it up with Brock Duncan for Meadowdale. And that's got to be frustration. A lot of Edmonds-Woodway frustration being shown there. And it'll probably allow Meadowdale to escape as a personal foul against both teams. So they were offset. And I think that's a fair statement by the referee, as both of them were kind of getting a little chippy with one another. 3rd interception of the ball game. The 4th turnover for Edmonds-Woodway. It's tough to win ball games when you turn the ball over 4 times, that's for sure. No question. Tingstad will send 4 receivers out. And now here's the screen to pass on the far side. Caught after tipped on the far sideline. That could have been the game, and it will be the game. Caught off the carom and all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Mavericks. Halen Roberts with the catch off the fingertips of Edmonds-Woodway and all the way in for the score. Holy cow. I am never cease to be surprised by this game. And now the white hat is going to go down and talk things over with his staff. We have roughing the passer against the defense. So the penalty will be declined, and that will be pretty much the end of this ball game. 96 yards on the tip drill. And Halen Roberts goes the distance for the fourth TD for Meadowdale to make it after the PAT here. Right now they're sitting at 27. Could make it 28-14, and that will pretty much be Edmonds-Woodway's undoing. Own 4-yard line. Tingstad swings a pass out on the far side after hesitating just a little bit. Edmonds-Woodway steps up. The receiver on that far side, I did not see who that was, but it hit his hands. I mean, it was a pick six waiting to happen. Wow. And it could have been tied in about that much time. Crazy ball game sometimes. 3:08 remaining, 28-14. Meadowdale over E-Dub. We'll take a quick break and be back on the Sound Live Sports Network. What a crazy, crazy game this can be sometimes. Meadowdale jumping out to a 2-touchdown lead. Will now kick off with 3:08 remaining to Edmonds-Woodway and Stadium Jam, and another entertaining ball game. There's no other way to state it. And you wonder if this game would be any different. Even through the wackiness of the last couple of plays there, if the penalties weren't just amassed on the Edmonds-Woodway side. They had some drives that looked very good. Had some real potential. And then it turned right around. Nate Nablé, a couple of touchdowns tonight. Drew Chingstad going to get credited for that marvelous 96 yards in the pass column. But it was really the concentration of Halen Roberts, who is able to find that thing in the air in the dark up against the stadium lights and haul it in and turn it loose. Crazy. Edmonds-Woodway not done. 3 minutes and 7 seconds to go. They took about that long in order to get the last drive all the way to the 6-yard line. 2:55 to go here. And a timeout, Meadowdale. So the Week 3 football picks from the HeraldNet.com. Aaron Lammer's looking like he's a genius. Herald Ryder had Meadowdale over Edmonds-Woodway. Tom Lafferty, David Kruger, and Steve Willits. KRKO, Herald, and our own Sound Live Sports Network choosing Edmonds-Woodway in this contest. Still some time. Now the handoff on the left-hand side, upended about the 36-yard line, still staying in bounds. Graydon Heron. Quickly getting into the 2-minute offense, maybe a minute early. Jackson will step up on the pocket. Now he'll make a long throw and overthrows everybody, intending to connect with David Woodard once again. 3rd down and 4. And the last 2 plays, the interception at the goal line and then the tip, pick, and go for the Meadowdale Mavericks pretty much took the wind right out of this Edmonds-Woodway crowd. They're getting around end. And out of bounds is Riley Chappelle. No, pardon me. Graydon Heron once again. First down and 10, getting very close to 2 minutes to play now. Heron will move off to Jackson's right, trips to the nearest or to the far side, and now penalty flags will back it up 5 yards. So tack it on again. And I don't have the total number of penalties in front of me, but I don't think you need a number. It's sheer numbers. It's sheer volume at this point in time is all that you really can think about if you're Edmonds-Woodway. A couple of missteps, but kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And out goes Tyler Reinford out near the sideline. Finally run out of bounds inside Meadowdale territory, but you're going to have to strike quickly and hope you can get an onside kick. 2:06 remain in a first down, so it's certainly possible. And as nutty as this game has been, it can always get nuttier. Ball on the 46 over the mid-stripe. Jackson will hand it off once again to Heron, who, boy, thunders forward for another 10 yards. They'll move the sticks once again. Stops the clock with 1:59 to go. That time not quite as slick. Graydon Heron able to see a lot of daylight in front of him in the last couple of plays. That time had his run stop short, maybe a yard into the pile. And the clock now really starting to count down on the dive. And a keeper, and there goes Jackson up to the first down. He's got a little running room trying to get himself out to the sideline to stop the clock. They'll stop the clock enough to move the chains at the 15-yard line. So certainly able to get forward enough to get things, make things interesting. But you just sense that Edmonds-Woodway is really running out of daylight. Now 1:13 to go with the clock still counting down. Ball on the 16-yard line. Back to throw is Jackson right over the middle. Caught. It's Nash down at the 5-yard line. Quickly hurrying up his offense as the clock ticks down to 1:02 now. Goal to go. They were here a drive ago and came up empty. Can they get it in this time? Straight ahead. Near the goal line and stopped. It'll be a first down. No, goal to go, second down. I'm sorry, the clock now ticking down. 43, 42, 41. Shotgun formation. They hand the ball up straight ahead. Touchdown. Edmonds-Woodway able to get in. Aaron with the touchdown. Breathes a little life into Edmonds-Woodway. They really need the the PAT here in order to really have a chance. Although if they're able to get lucky enough to get the onside kick, you can always go for 2. So it's not a do or die situation, but 35 seconds to go. There's the kick up, and it is through the uprights. It's a 28-21 score, a touchdown apiece with 35 seconds to go. We'll see if Edmonds-Woodway can come back with some heroics after the break.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
Jake Stevenson takes the football and sets up what you can be assured is an onside kick chance. Well, you got all hands in front of the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors bench. Remember, it's got to get at least to the 50-yard line to be legal. So we'll see if they can get it bounced off the turf. No doubt they practice this time at a two here, right at this very field, probably at this very spot, Edmonds-Woodway's home turf. That's why you've got specialty guys doing the kicking. Let's see what Stevenson can get us. If you're Edmonds-Woodway, here it comes. Off the turf it goes. It gets the required 10 yards, but right at the Meadowdale Mavericks. And Halen Roberts hauls it in, and that will be a re-kick, I guess. So I'm not entirely sure why. Offsides. So Edmonds-Woodway actually getting a break because of a penalty. One of their own. It was bound to happen with enough of them out there. You were bound to get one that actually worked in your favor. Dial it up again. Dial up me an onside kick, says head coach John Gradwall. Nice job by Stevenson to get it to dribble and get it to 10 yards. We'll see if he's got some speedsters that can help him this time. Here it comes. And right again, same man, same place. Perhaps didn't get it enough bounce up into the air, and that will be Meadowdale taking over with 35 seconds to go. Edmonds-Woodway with only one timeout remaining, and this all but does it. You take a knee 2 times and it's done. So for the second time in 2 years, Meadowdale gets out of Stadium Jam with a big win over Edmonds-Woodway, their first of the year. It didn't take 2 overtimes, but it took some crazy football to get it done. Right now, just victory formation a couple of times, run out the clock and put a fork in it. And now a penalty after a delay of game, I believe. Because we need another penalty. You know, I don't think we've seen a delay of game. I think we've pretty much ran the gamut. We've seen some pass interference, some holding, intentional grounding, encroachment. Illegal shift, illegal substitution, illegal man downfield. And that'll do it. Stadium Jam the Stands is in the books for 2015, and Edmonds-Woodway falls to the Meadowdale Mavericks, 28-21. Edmonds-Woodway falling to 1-2 on the season, and Meadowdale rising to 1-2 after already being 0-2 to start things. And the handshakes at center field or center of the stadium here, and now we've got everybody running out onto the field. You would hope that they make some room for the later game that's about to start warming up. We'll see how they finally get them stopped, or at least some of the bleeding stopped in the stands. But that's a wrap here. We'll get our player of the game up here and into the booth in just a moment, but that is the final play of the ball game, 28-21. And we'll take a break and be back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Stick around, more to come.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds-Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date. Athletics.com, the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference.
Welcome back on the Sound Live Sports Network. The final 28-21, the Meadowdale Mavericks with the W, their first of the season. They are able to get another win out of Edmonds-Woodway Warriors. And it was a big one. It's one you want to win, that rivalry game where you get to come into what is really your home stadium, play the opponent, and beat up on your rival in a game that frankly was pretty sloppy. A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers in the ball game, and the scale had to tip in those categories to Edmonds-Woodway. A heck of a lot of penalties. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but sheer volume would tell you that most teams can't win when they turn the ball over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 times, and 3 interceptions and a fumble, and then amass that many penalty yards. But they still gave it one heck of a ball game, and it came down really to the end where Edmonds-Woodway had a chance to punch it into the end zone with about 3:50 to go and throw an interception right on their own 7-yard line or 6-yard line. So it was not able to punch it in. The very next play, or actually 2 plays later from scrimmage, the Meadowdale Mavericks were able to get a play of trickery, but it wasn't a design play. It was a play that bounced off Edmonds-Woodway defensive back's hands and straight up into the air. He catches that. It's 6 points going the other direction. And instead, it is a 96-yard run heading the other way. It's Roberts with the scramble, and he picks up the touchdown to make it 28-21. So now we get to get the cans on and put them on to Nate Navlet, our player of the ball game. And Nate, I want to just ask you a quick question coming up here right now. That very first play from scrimmage, where you hauled in the flea flicker touchdown pass, was that talked about? That was going to be the design right out of the gate the whole week?
Yeah, we were running all practices. We ran it like 3 practices in a row, probably like 5 times, 6 times. So it was pretty well rehearsed. So all I had to do was just block them and just let them go and catch a touchdown and go.
So when you are out there and you know a whole week in advance that you are going to get your number called on the very first play from scrimmage, do you think about that when you're out there?
Yeah.
Not just practice, but are you thinking about that in class? Are you thinking about that?
I could not sleep Wednesday, Thursday. I couldn't sleep at all. That's all I was thinking about in class, just catching that ball from my cousin.
All right. Well, you had a heck of an effort, and I'd like to get you the picture with the player of the game T-shirt. Nate Navlet, 2 touchdowns. One from the very first play from scrimmage, and then he also got to tack on that 20-yarder that really was the breakaway there right after the second half of play. Describe that play.
Well, I was just telling Coach the whole time that we just run trips, and they just left that spot open, so I said just throw me the ball there, and I'm going to slant. I'll get it.
One thing that seemed that we had talked about a lot, and I don't know if you took stock of this when you were down on the field, there was a lot of hankies on the field in that ball game. Does that sway you when an opponent is having that much trouble with penalties? Does that lift you up, break you down? Is it too much of a stall? What goes through your guys' heads?
I just like playing football, so let them play. But if it's against them, then that's fine with me.
You had a bit of not a meltdown as far as the emotions go, but you left one of your own out on the field tonight.
Yeah.
And
Tyler Ruby.
Yeah, it was Tyler Ruby, your middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Any update? Have you heard anything about Mr. Ruby?
I think it was a concussion. I mean, he tried to stand up on the play and just fell back down. And I don't know. We haven't heard anything yet. We're probably going to get told when we go back down there, but we haven't heard any news yet.
Okay. Well, wish him the best from the Sound Live Sports Network, guys. I appreciate our player of the game, Nate Navlet, a couple of touchdowns, 14 points, getting the first win of the season.
Yeah.
Number 1 always feels good.
Oh, yeah.
It's against EW.
Yeah. Best feeling of my life right now, too.
Well, I doubt you will forget this anytime soon.
Yes,
so,
I won't.
absolutely, congratulations.
Thank you.
And go congratulate your teammates on a very well-fought W, 28-21. We'll say goodnight. We'll be back here next week. It'll be Mount Lake Terrace and Edmonds-Woodway. Good luck next week against Glacier Peak. All right. That'll do it from us here up at Sound Live Sports Network. Again, make sure that you are tuning in. We got more football every week. Very happy Meadowdale Maverick group leaving the building tonight. So our best to everybody, especially Mr. Ruby, who is hopefully still watching us here from a distance. And I imagine that he will be just as excited as his his Meadowdale brethren once he gets the news of the W. Thanks for being with us all afternoon and evening. We'll see you in a week from today. Good night.